UModeler X is now free, but more on that later. You probably heard about the big plan of the Blender Foundation to make everything in Blender work using nodes. The whole everything nodes thing didn't just appear randomly. It actually comes from a pretty long vision inside the Blender Foundation. At some point, Blender developers started realizing something. The software was becoming a bit messy, let's just say. I mean, under the hood. You had modifiers, particle systems, physics, and constraints, all separated systems, and they work differently. And if you've used Blender long enough, you probably fell to the inconsistency. So the idea was like, what if we unify all this into one system? That's where the early proposal for everything nodes came in. It was basically about building a generic function system where everything behaves like node groups. You know, just more powerful but flexible. And I bet this reminds you of another 3D software. Yes, that's right, Houdini. So the inspiration didn't come out of nowhere. A lot of it comes from tools like Houdini, where everything is procedural and node-based. But Blender didn't want to just copy that. The goal was more like, take that power, but make it feel less intimidating and more integrated into a general-purpose 3D software such as Blender. Because honestly, Blender isn't as powerful as Houdini, but it offers way too many things compared to Houdini. Before we continue, I would like to share with you guys some good news. UModeler X, the tool that brings 3D modeling and texturing workflows directly into Unity, is about to become completely free to use. We've all had that moment. You import an asset into Unity, only to notice an uneven geometry or a broken character rig. Then you have to go back to your modeling software, fix it, and export everything again. With UModeler X, you can perform polygon modeling, rigging, and even texture painting right inside the Unity editor. And since the free transition has been officially announced, and it will be fully accessible to everyone starting April 15, it is honestly a no-brainer to add it to your workflow. But there is even more good news. The developers behind UModeler X are also launching a new AI assistant called PicoBerry. It is a cloud-based platform designed to help you generate high-poly and low-poly game-ready assets fully compatible with Unity, which can be very helpful when trying to populate environments with props, and it is expected to launch around the 15th of April. So if you are interested in UModeler X and PicoBerry, you can join the whitelist by clicking the link in the description. So as you can see, instead of forcing users into nodes, Blender is slowly rebuilding its systems so that nodes become the foundation, even if users don't always see them. And that's why the rollout feels slow and kind of hidden. Blender didn't drop everything nodes as one big feature. Instead, they've been layering the foundation step by step. Geometry nodes was the big turning point, so suddenly modeling wasn't just about pushing vertices anymore. It actually became procedural, reusable, and way more scalable, as we have seen. And this shift alone was already a preview of what the bigger plan looks like, and I think it was a great start for the overreaching plan to see the reaction of the community and whether it's gonna be a success or a massive failure. And so far, it is considered a massive success. What the plan really means is this: Blender is trying to move away from the tool-based mindset into a system-based mindset. I mean, instead of click this button to do this action, instead it becomes build a system that can do this. And this is actually a huge change. It is the difference between manually placing objects and, let's say, creating a setup that can generate entire cities, forests, or effects automatically, just like Houdini. And honestly, this is taking Blender into a whole new level. But here is the interesting part. It isn't just about modeling and building environments. The original idea behind everything nodes include things like physics becoming node-based, particles becoming node-based, in addition to animation logic. Basically, all those old legacy systems get replaced or rebuilt into one unified framework. That's why you see Blender slowly killing old systems, like the classic particles, and replacing them with node-based versions. It is not random though. Even if you don't see it, it is part of the big plan. And if you zoom out, what Blender is really doing is future-proofing itself. A node-based core is way more flexible for things like procedural generation, simulation, and other workflows. So everything nodes is basically the Blender Foundation saying, we are rebuilding the entire software, but in a way where everything connects, everything is editable, and nothing is locked. And honestly, we are still kind of in the middle of the transition, but eventually we're gonna see the full transition or the full swing to the other side. Now, you most likely know about simulation nodes, which were launched I believe in 2023. And this is one of those things that sounds the same on the surface. I mean similar to the true power of simulation using nodes, but it is actually two different layers of the same idea. Let me explain. You see, when Blender talks about moving physics and simulations to nodes, they are talking about a big and long-term plan to rebuild all those old systems, like rigid bodies, clothes, fluids, particles, and so on, into a unified network. And right now, those systems are kind of all over the place. They were built at different times, with different tech, and they don't always play nicely together. And to be honest, many Blender users consider simulation to be one of the weakest aspects of Blender. So the goal is to eventually make everything part of one consistent system, where everything connects and behaves in predictable ways. Now, the simulation nodes is what we have today, and it is basically the first step toward that future. It gives you, for example, the ability to simulate things over time inside geometry nodes. So instead of everything being static, you can have a state that evolves frame by frame. That's a huge deal, because it introduces the idea of time and simulation directly into the node system. But at the same time, it is still very low level. It is not a full physics system yet. I would say it is more like a sandbox where you can build your own logic. So yeah, simulation nodes and node-based physics are related, but they are not the same thing. Simulation nodes are more like the foundation layer, while the future plan is to build proper, high-level tools on top of that. Things like a cloth solver node, or a rigid body system, that you can just drop and use it, except under the hood, they are still powered by nodes. Another way to look at it is this. Right now, simulation nodes feel a bit like you are assembling your own simulation piece by piece. It is powerful, but also kinda raw. The end goal is to keep that power, but wrap it in something more user-friendly. So beginners can just use a ready-made system, while advanced users can dive deeper and customize everything if they want to. And honestly, the reason Blender is going in this direction is because the old approach just doesn't scale well anymore. So maintaining separate physics systems forever becomes a nightmare, and the solution is a unified and node-based system, which is way more flexible, easier to extend, and fits better with where 3D workflows are going. And it just makes more sense, especially with procedural setups and complex simulations. Also, animation rigging is honestly one of the biggest and hardest parts of the whole everything nodes vision. Right now, Blender's animation system is kind of layered on top of itself. You've got keyframes, drivers, constraints, modifiers, and real logic all living in different places. And if you've ever worked with a complex rig, you know it can get messy fast. Stuff hidden in panels, relationships aren't always obvious, and debugging a rig can feel like trying to untangle spaghetti. So the idea with everything nodes is basically, what if all that logic was visible and editable? I mean like a system. So instead of having constraints buried in menus and drivers, hidden in properties, you would have a node graph that represents how your rig actually works. So things like IK and FK switching, space switching, deformation logic, and all of that could exist as nodes, which you can see and tweak. And this is where it gets really interesting, because it changes how you would think about rigging. And right now, rigging is kind of like stacking tricks on top of bones. You add constraints, wire drivers, and hope everything behaves. But in a node-based system, you are basically building a system from scratch, where you define how motion flows through the rig. It becomes less about fixing things and more about designing behavior. But yeah, this is also why it is taking so long. As you know, animation is deeply tied to the UI, in addition to performance, playback speed, and compatibility with existing rigs. So Blender cannot just flip a switch and replace it overnight. That's why we have seen the Slow Animation 2025 effort, where they have improved the foundation first before going full node-based, and hopefully they continue to do so in 2026 and beyond. Now let's talk about particles and hair. This is one of those areas where Blender is basically doing a full rebuild, but doing it quietly over time. So traditionally, Blender had this particle system that did everything like grass, hair, sparks, debris, you name it. It is actually pretty powerful, especially for its time. You could scatter objects, simulate hair, add with forces, and all those stuff. But the problem is, just like physics, it is kind of like its own isolated system, with its own rules and limitations, and over time, it started to feel, well, outdated. That's why most Blender artists use add-ons like geoscatter, and now enter geometry nodes, and this is where things shift hard. Geometry nodes actually started initially as a way to replace instancing and scattering, which is exactly what particles were used for, and step by step, it kept growing, first scattering, then procedural modeling, then animation, and now even simulation. So in a way, geometry nodes didn't just replace particles, it kind of absorbed their role and expanded it. Hair is also a perfect example for this transition. Blender is now building hair as curves plus nodes, instead of particles. So instead of using particle systems to generate hair strands, you are working with actual geometry that you can fully control using nodes, like adding frizz, clumping, deformation, and all of that through node setups. And there you have it, guys. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, please subscribe to this channel to receive more videos like this. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.